What the fuck was that?
I'm fuming. Like, this is the angriest I've been all fucking season. It's literally the worst thing I've seen. It's infuriating.
It's almost like we don't need to do another video. Basil just touched on that and said, we could have just put the same video out we did against Fulham or one of the other games. Nothing's really changing, is it? I mean, he changes the system and the personnel, but the performances they're boring, aren't they? And we don't seem to have any structure or style of play.
I turn the telly on to watch football, not fucking rugby. Literally, all they do is pass the ball backwards or sideways. There's no pace. There's no good passing. The passing was so loose throughout the entire game. It was so boring and frustrating to watch. The only player that actually cared on that pitch was Pickford. And even in like the last minute when there was a few minutes left and he was trying to hoof it up there, he was trying to, like, you could see the aggression in his face trying to get forward with the players. And everyone else was just aimlessly walking around. It's so annoying to watch.
Basil, do you think Villa wanted it more tonight, or is it just a case of Everton not being at their best?
Villa are obviously, look at them, they're a better outfit than us. They're set up better. They're defensively resolute. They've got a plan going forward. They've got that ball over the top to Ollie Watkins, which is really effective. They've built a really good side there, and they actually have some sort of structure to their play. And we just look a bit clueless, really, a lot of the time. And tonight's defending was atrocious for large parts of the game.
I knew from the counter straight away, as soon as they were building up, I could tell they were going to score. They had pace, they had good passing, and it was just a neat finish as well. And fair play, Pickford couldn't have stopped that. But it shouldn't have built up like that. They were very, very well put together. The Everton should be on top of that and not letting the players. It's just poor all round.
Gonna go straight to the comments. I know there's a lot of people watching. 20 of you, I think that's really good. Keep with us. We will obviously touch on everything that we get through here as well. Toffee Gamer, hi mate. Season over, flip flop time. Yeah, I mean, I do think Everton wanted a win. I just think we looked a bit void of ideas at times. Thanks, appreciate that, Jack. Martin has been commenting on Twitter, to the official Follow Everton account for most of the game. He says this squad is full of overpaid cowards. No one has the guts to play a forward pass and make space. What would you say on that? Do you think that was down to losing James tonight, or do you think this is a systematic issue?
Absolutely, I think it's down to losing James. I was saying it throughout the game. If we had a player that could actually send the ball over the top and forward and then to give it to Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin, it would have made such a difference because we couldn't get that pass going forwards. Sigurdsson didn't really offer it going forwards. We had a few chances, but we were never clinical with our finishing, and we were screwed from the get-go.
The fact that Sigurdsson was moved from Cam to left mid, back to Cam, and then deeper, it just shows that he was completely ineffective and Richarlison was ineffective. I didn't feel like they made the runs. I was screaming at the TV, like, Richarlison, stretch the game, let King, at the end there. King needs space to run into. You're coming short. Calvert-Lewin's coming short. It's just no space.
They're looking for the ball because they get starved of service for most of the match.
They're completely starved, but it's just that, they're not even making those runs. I don't think we can blame this all on James, and we know he's not going to be fit for half the season based on what we've seen.
Yeah, but we can't be a one-man team either. We need to be able, even if he's not here. Yes, if he is here, it would be great for him going forward. But if he's not there, we still can't flop and have a whole team not put together.
You can argue it all day about James being out, but then you could start saying, well, Decore sits in there. Look, we've got a stable midfield there. They don't counter us in the same way. So, it plays both parts. We've got to work with what we had. And personally,
and I'm saying we should be performing a lot better, even if we don't have him. I'm saying it's the fault of the team. I'm not saying we need to rely on him. I'm just saying that it's great if we have him, but if not, we still need to be able to perform, and that's not what we did tonight at all.
I think if Decore is in that team, we're not losing. We're not going to lose as many games as we have done. I mean, look at the overall form. Certainly at home, it is pathetic. It's ridiculous. I think, 10 defeats or something? It must be into double figures now, or at least close to that. And it's just unacceptable. And I've just said now to you guys off camera that if it wasn't Ancelotti and there was fans in the stadium, there would be an absolute, inquest into these results, because they're not good enough. And it's not as if we're losing to these top sides. We're losing to Villas and Newcastles, and no disrespect to them, but we should be beating them, especially if we're going for Europe. Another comment from Toffee Gamer. He says, Luca Dean gets a throw in the final third and it's back to Delph. It is very negative, isn't it? And one thing I would say that I noticed about Villa was certainly in the first half, they got so many people forward. It was like an onslaught, and you don't often see that at Goodison Park, but they were having 6-7 people forward in the attacks beyond the ball at times, really going for it. And you look at us, and it's very slow and laboured, and there seems to be a reluctance to go forward.
We're very conjointed in our attacking play. Villa's play is cohesive. They know where the other opponent, they know where their players are going to be. They know where to pass the ball. When we pick up the ball, and we did get opportunities, there's no doubt in that tonight. We had chances where we didn't convert to real shooting opportunities in the final third. And we make the wrong decisions. We're too selfish. Sigurdsson, I want to shoot. Calvert-Lewin, I'm going to drive in and whack the ball into the stand. Richarlison, I'm not looking left or right. I'm just going forward till the ball gets taken from me.
The last 10 minutes of the game, the finishing was piss poor. We had Josh Kidd, he sent one flying wide. Calvert-Lewin almost kicked a shot off to the flipping the throw on. Like it was so wide. Sigurdsson had a shot, but he should have laid it off. There was just no clinical finishing, and it's just piss poor.
There was a lot of bad decision making. There was times when Sigurdsson could have played Richarlison through, slipped him in, and he makes the wrong pass. Same with Richarlison. I think this was a lack of intelligence today. Steve says that when the fans turn up, we might win at home. I think that's what he's trying to say. But the thing is, if you have that, there are going to be in all the stadiums, and you comparing Everton's home form with their away form. The away form is very good, and the home form is ridiculously poor. But at the same time, if you put in fans in the stadium, yeah, we might have won today, but will we lose the games that we've won? So I think it swings and roundabouts. I think we need to show a lot more consistency. And Dave is watching on Facebook. He says Gomez gets stick, but he looks to play forward and has to go back through a lack of movement. Yeah, but he was playing the switch out wide a lot of the time. Certainly the first half, that didn't come off. And as I say, Everton often they're not look like a bunch of Sabutio players fixed in their positions, whereas Villa, they're willing to have a fullback overlapping and the winger who wants to cut inside and shoot. There's a lot more chemistry, and I was quite annoyed that we allowed Barkley sort of the freedom of Goodison Park in that midfield, certainly for 60 minutes to dictate and to play his game, and we couldn't quite match it.
I think that was one where Decore would have been the player to match him. I think Alan just was out physical by Barkley. You know, he's 6'2" or something, and Alan's just couldn't match him. He wouldn't win a header. He couldn't nick the ball off him.
But that was all the team as well. It wasn't just those two, because if you look at the pace between them and us, we literally, I'm pretty sure all 11 of their players would outpace our 11 players. They were just so much quicker. We're so slow on and off the ball, and it just hinders us so much. And there were so many passes that were just so aimless, and there were loose balls going left, right, and centre. There was no structure or flow to it. It's very, very.
They have that aggressive streak in their play, don't they? I mean, they haven't got a huge amount to play for, which we touched on in the preview. But they played that game like they wanted to win. They were aggressive. They've got players like McGinn and Louise and Mings from the back, and they all try and sort of nick in and press the ball. They don't let you have the ball and dictate the game. We don't do that. We let them play.
I think that makes it even more annoying, really, the fact that Villa don't have anything to play for, and they're going to finish mid-table, but it looks like we are as well. I think that's the infuriating thing. Where's the motivation in the Everton players?
If you look at the table, this game was probably the second most important game apart from the West Ham game, because this would set up the rest of the season, like the last few games we have, which are so crucial if we want to finish anywhere in the top 5. Fourth is gone, but if we want to finish fifth onwards, get Europa League or Europa Conference League, this was our game in hand. It's against Villa, so not only have we let them now catch up, because if we lose the second one against them, then I think they're 1 point behind us. This was our game in hand. We wanted to. If we won this one, we would have been able to be level with West Ham. It's just
play them again. Don't want to play them again. And I said before the Arsenal game that I was happy for the season to end and finish and let us move on and do something else now. Some society's slightly going back to normal, because I'm not getting any pleasure out of watching Everton. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see the first 10 minutes. I was out playing football with some friends, and at 7:45, I'm thinking, I don't really want to go back and watch this. Part of me not happy with what I've been watching. Even the Arsenal game, I thought we were shite. And Yeah, I missed the first 10 minutes. Obviously, we're going to come on to that and we're going to go through the game. Just want to pick up on these comments. This is one from Suede Head 2, okay, who's watching on Twitter, I think. If you're still watching, hiya. Our play is so slow and laboured, we don't cross the ball. Yeah, it's backwards and then into midfield and then a little drive forward and then it might break down. Someone might play the wrong pass. I think today, though, from what I saw, it was a lot to do with the fact there wasn't a presence in central defence. I don't think that centre-back partnership works. I think they're too similar, and I think you need someone a little bit more physical, a little bit more of the authority at the back. I thought Godfrey was awful. I thought Holgate was... I know I did pick it because I said that they would handle the movement of Watkins better, but they couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, on paper, those two are what you would think could deal with it. Bit of pace, bit of Chase and Harry.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Couldn't do anything.
But I'm just saying that defense, they were exposed and the midfield was wide open. You know what happens? One person presses and they get bypassed and then they're straight through our midfield. And it was so easy for Villa to get through onto the last line. You know what it reminded me of? When we play Leeds that first half was a little bit like when we play Leeds. It wasn't quite as end to end, but it was very much we'll attack, we'll do nothing, and then we'll lose the ball, we'll try and press you and you'll run straight through us.
We're just bottle jobs. We go and turn up against all the big teams. If you look at the results this season, they've been amazing. We've beaten Leicester, we've beaten the Shite, we've beaten Chelsea, we've all the top teams, right? And then who do we go and lose against?
John, anyone's beaten anyone. This is the thing.
Yeah, I know, but these are the top teams. But surely, if we're beating them, we need to still be beating the likes of Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton, Villa. It's all these teams that we're dropping points against that should be wins, and we can challenge for places if we're beating the top teams. But we can't lose against the little teams as well. And we're just bottle jobs. It's literally as simple as that. We can't turn up when we need to.
They're a big club, Villa. Don't get me wrong; they're a big club, but we should be beating them, shouldn't we, David?
I think there's a pressure on us to perform at home, and I think if you look at the way we set up today, Ancelotti's obviously gone through the centre backs and thought, look, we're going to have to be aggressive and we're going to have to press them, and they got Watkins running in behind, so we'll go with Holgate and Godfrey. And what's the alternative? If we play Mina and Keane, we have to do what we did against teams with pace like Man United, Leicester, where we drop deep and just try and get something on the counter attack. And we didn't. We went the other way, but we've proved we can't play this way either.
Work. Yeah.
This does not work.
We haven't got the personnel. We haven't got the players. Dave's asking why we started Iwobi and not Bernardo King. Maybe just a fitness thing. Iwobi's been training a lot longer, and King apparently just has come back from a back injury. But he does look bright when he comes on. King, he kind of he looks like he shows a glimpse of doing something, and it never quite comes off, which is a bit annoying because I think he's kind of the player on paper that we need.
Do you think that we got caught out by Hammers being out and the whole game plan changed? Maybe if we'd put Bernard in there, he would have provided a bit more along the lines of the position that floating around in the sort of cam role that Hammers.
I think he was going for the 4-3-3. I think I actually called that team in the build-up. I got the exact team apart from Hammers. Obviously didn't play in the end, and it was Iwobi. Was that right? Sigurdsson? I said Sigurdsson, and maybe I didn't pick Gomez to start, in fairness. But
Davies, and I felt like we needed Davies today. I mean, nothing against Gomez. He tried to pick passes out, but I just felt like we needed that solidity with fullbacks flying forward. Dean and Coleman just left the centre back so exposed.
Dave, I don't think. We'll get onto that, Dave. I don't think Iwobi had his worst game because I've seen him play a lot worse than that. He can't cross the ball and he's not quick.
But I feel like he's occupying spaces that Coleman wants to run into, and they didn't link up together at all. He offered nothing. In hindsight, I'd just go for Bernard. Just give them a chance. I mean, like this comment from Dave, what good are these players on the bench if he waits till 75, 80 minutes to give them a chance till we're losing the game? And then just put them on. Look, we can't be any worse. The sub.
He didn't want to make us even more exposed. And
can't be any worse than what was on the pitch.
I'm telling you, my 3-year-old cousin Ariel, shout out to him. I promise you now, he would definitely outpace half our players. I promise you, he's like this tall that he'd batter all of them. It was so poor. Like, it was so frustrating to watch. It's just not Everton. If you compare it to the start of the season when we were up there in the league and we were proper going for it, to now, it's literally two different teams. There's a reason why we finished behind the shite for so long, this many years. It's ridiculous.
I think apart from 7 games, we've been shite. And even some of these wins, I know there have been a few wins where we have played really well. I think Leeds, Liverpool, Leicester, but we're kind of hanging on and clinging in these games. We're not like.
Do you know what's unique about
teams.
those games? We got the game plan spot on in those games. If you think about the individual games,
And what's the game plan today? Do you think it was just had to be ripped up because Hammers didn't play?
Well, I was questioning that before, but it shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't fall to bits just because one player's out the team.
Should be able to do like, oh, you know, Hammers is just out, very unfortunate, but let's take this and then we'll do this instead. And it should be that easy. You shouldn't have to rely so much on one player.
John, 25% of Everton's goals come through Hammers one way or another.
Yeah,
so
and that's amazing, and it's
portion.
great to have him. But it's a team build-up. It's not just he is amazing, but it's not just him running and then having a shot or flicking it into the box every time. It is a lot of that as well. But you should be able to have variety and switch it up. So if that doesn't work, then you should be able to go and do this instead. Put it with Digne, go to the corner flag, whip it in quickly, and get a header on it. There should be able to be variation in it instead of just being one person.
Decore back next week, though, we think, and that will make a massive difference. I think it's no surprise that the downfall of this Everton team has come from his injury. Just on Mark and his comment, he says the subs were crap. Obviously, I think Gomez faded, and it was right probably to take him off, and he doesn't have the options. He does like Delph. He's obviously rates him. Delph is a bit. He's a bit. All talk maybe and no substance at times with him. He's clearly very experienced, very talented, but I think of some of the passes. I mean, there was one at the end where he just overhit it and I thought, what are you doing? Just a little bit brainless at times. And Mark's not happy about Holgate and Iwobi. Holgate, is he Billy Big Bollocks? Does he think he's better than he is?
I think there is an element of that, and he's trying to do certain things, and it's just not coming off because he's not at that level yet. Don't get me wrong, he has talent, but he's not at this world-class level yet as he's trying to act or be like. Their first goal was piss poor, like, no doubt about it. And then throughout the rest of the game, and you know what? I've said it in the last few fixtures, actually. I've said Holgate has actually been very, very poor. And it sums it up as well. It's a joke.
Yeah. He has the chance to play the ball to Dean. Easy pass, and he tries to Cruyff turn it back to his goalkeeper. It just shows how negative we are anyway, going back to the keeper there.
I don't like Holgate as a player. I think he always wants to drop a lot deeper than the rest of the back line and play people on side, and he's a bit rash and he's a bit cocky.
I don't feel I don't feel comfortable with him as the last man, the deep man. I just want Godfrey there, and I want him I don't know,
the sweeper at the back.
I don't want him sweeping because he makes mistakes.
I think this season I've been quite critical of Pickford. However, and I used to back the rest of the team like Davies and Holgate, and Davies is fine, but I was just using him as an example, and Godfrey as well. And if you just look at the way it is now, Pickford has improved a lot in the last few games, and I actually feel very confident in him in between the sticks. He's a lot more on it. Yeah, for sure. He made some absolutely world-class saves, and he was just reliable. He wasn't doing any of this bullshit stuff where in past he's made simple mistakes. And there was one where the ball went in, I think it was a corner, and he ran to the ball, grabbed it. Usually in the past, he would have punched that away or let it slip to the opposition, whereas now he's gone out, he's caught it, and he's ready to move the play on. So I completely back him. But now the back line, the defence, I thought in the rest of the season has been very, very strong on it. And we've actually lacked going forward more than we have in defence. Whereas the last few games, it's completely switched again. And we're just not on it in the back. We're letting passes go through us. We're not fast. We're just making way too many errors in the back. And that is what is costing us.
I don't think we found the balance at any stage, there have been individual errors. I mean, you can't account for that.
It's too many errors and nothing going forward. I mean, you look at the team we had on paper today and you think, well, all right, you take Hammers out, so we've lost the creativity. Are we going to still play the same way? Well, we tried to play through the lines. We tried to pass the ball. But very often we seem a bit clueless. We pass sideways, backwards, back to the keeper.
It doesn't solve the problem of the lack of width.
Why don't we think about how we can, get at Villa? And for me, we proved it on the set piece. It was a header. It was movement in the box. And also when we played long and direct, Richarlison over the top or Calvert-Lewin into his chest, we can get joy there, but we don't do that enough for me. I think
we're not direct.
Our set pieces have been very strong this season, and there's a reason why. It's because you're not actually sprinting half the length of the pitch to get there. It's all within like a tight space, like within the box. So yes, we might have quick, fluid movements within a few yards or whatever, and that's how we can get goals with like good small finishes. But we can't actually be able to start on a counter from our own half and be able to get forward into their box because we lack the pace, and then they have way too many defenders back, and then our shot's too poor. We need to be able to hit someone with pace or on the counter, and we weren't able to do that because the lack of pace meant we'd actually have to turn around and pass backwards and sideways. There's no creative ball going up and forward, and then we don't have the pace to do it either. So all we have to do is turn back. And I think within the first, bar the the very first few seconds of the game where we had that good chance, from that moment on till like the 10th or 15th minute, I'm pretty sure we were passing around our like literal goal line and around to the corner flags, and it was just so in our half. It's ridiculous. Oh, I'm fuming.
My computer's crashed. I don't know if anyone noticed that. I think it froze.
No.
Oh, I don't know if I froze or not.
You're okay.
We'll pretend that didn't happen. It just ran a bit funny for me.
I mean, I just want to touch on the setup, right? Because I said it in the preview, and I was quite strong, wasn't I? I said I want to play with the back three because I didn't trust Holgate and Godfrey together. I wanted an experienced member of staff at the back with them. And I wanted the fullbacks to provide the width because, especially with no Hammers, look, all right, Iwobi's coming in to provide the width, but let Coleman do it because he's proved he's a much better option.
I trust Coleman so much more.
So let's have Dean and Coleman attacking as wide fullbacks, hugging the touchline. Bring Mina or Keane in to try and dominate the centre of the park.
From deep.
And, leave the other players central. But today we went the opposite. We tried to play with basically 2 wing backs and 2 centre backs with no cover in the midfield. So exposed the whole game. And Ancelotti didn't solve the problem the whole game.
Look at how when Dean plays well, the reasons why. It's because he comes from deep and he's linking up with someone ahead of him. And I think what you're suggesting is then starting positions are higher. It wouldn't work because we just got exposed by the wingers already.
What I'm suggesting, not necessarily a solid back three or a solid back five, but more in the style that we've played against Liverpool and other teams where it becomes a 4 and then a 5, because, by allowing Coleman to shift up, provide the width, and allow Dean to shift up on the other side. But at least then you've got enough defensive cover.
Why have we suddenly become a team that only plays with one man on that wide? We've never been a team that plays with one person stood out wide on each side.
Marco Silva, the rules was if Coleman went forward, then Dean can't go forward. It always leaves 3 in the back line and a few midfielders to cover enough balance in your play. But tonight, Coleman and Dean went forward. We lost the ball. We get caught in transition with no players back, just 2 centre-backs and Allen. Allen's too slow to chase. And then we just looked vulnerable. We could have conceded 3, 4, 5 goals off situations like that. So it's just really poor tactics for me tonight.
I used to love watching Everton so much, and I'd think, 90 minutes to watch them play. Oh, that's such a short time. I wish it was like double that. Now I think, you know what? Time is so valuable. I've got so much to do. 90 minutes is so much time to waste watching Everton. It is so boring and annoying to watch them play.
John, you run an Everton channel and you're saying these things.
Literally. It's infuriating. I'm like, I have so much other things to do, and to watch that shite, literally, it's awful. I can't be asked. We were such a different team.
Do you want to lose your viewers? You're a host on a.
I'm
on
a
Everton
massive
channel.
Everton fan. I promise you, I'm fuming at the moment.
It's the excitement and the build-up that kills you, and then the game starts and you realise how bad it is again. You've
My
waited a week for it.
expectations are up here, and we're currently performing down here.
That's why we don't even feel that. I don't even feel that deflate. Normally, I come away really bright red. I'm red now with the camera, but normally I feel really sunken and miserable. I just kind of, just a few seconds before the final whistle, just turned it off and come up here and just thought,
So is that your over?
Just,
Do you think?
I'm past the point of no return, and I think because we're going to play West Ham away, Villa away, Man City away. I think so. I don't want the Conference League. I think that would be a distraction we don't need, an unhelpful distraction with little prestige. And I think I agree with John.
Wolves at home, which we're going to have some fans in for, by all accounts, and we've got Sheffield United at home who have been relegated. And as far as I'm aware, that's it at home. So at least
too late. And Chelsea won.
We had to win that game, and I'll tell you why. Because if we didn't win that game, then we've literally just sunk to the bottom, and it will set a bad run of form for the rest of the games. If we won tonight, we would have been up there. We would have been ready to go. We're going to bottle it against Sheffield because we bottled it against Fulham once they'd already been relegated, and we lost to them. Same thing could happen again. Wolves have been very poor, and again, that should be a win for us, but I probably won't be either. Hopefully, again, fans should help, but it's too late by then. We need to win games and be competitive, because if we just sink back, we're not going to be able to catch up.
Well, positive John's no longer positive.
I used to be disappointed because I thought we'd actually win, and I thought, oh, you know what, it's a one-off game, we'll get them next time. But we're just putting such poor strings of results together. So now I'm angry because I actually think we should be doing so much better. And why are we not turning up? We've got a manager who has accomplished everything as a player, and a manager who's here with us and has got good tactics, and we're still flopping it so often. This is why I'm angry.
The table's not pretty reading now. Unfortunately, we've got to a point where the game in hand's gone, and we're below the top 7, and we can't catch them if everyone else wins. So
we would have been joined with West Ham. We would have been ahead of the shite. We would have been beating Villa, who we've got to play again anyway. It would have set us up so much. And you know what? It would have put pressure on West Ham as well, so they could have bottled it. And then when it came to our fixture against them, we could have gone and actually performed there. Whereas now they're going to probably batter us.
I've just put 3 huge points last time we have to play them again. we might do better away. We might win 2-1 away.
Well, at least we have the opportunity to reflect on that, and you've got to see an improvement in the away leg.
This comment here from Dave. He says clean sheets are a problem. The defense is bad and the forwards are bad, and I think apart from the first 7 games, it's not been very entertaining. Is this finding the balance? Is this the main issue?
I think we bottle it in certain areas. Like one game, we'll have an absolute beauty of a game. We'll play like the world-class players, and then another one, we'll just completely lose the mental strength of that. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're mentally can't cope with it, and they just switch off, and they shouldn't. They need to be more on it. But we just can't seem to string together the results we need. Is
it concentration as well, do you think, Basil?
I think this isn't a quick fix. And, we do make mistakes, and concentration, is a big part, especially at home. We just don't seem switched on. I mean, there's no excuses for some of the mistakes we made today in terms of Holgate with a poor little turn and giving the ball away, and Coleman not getting out to his man, and Dean you're giving the ball away off the throw-in. So, it is mistakes that are costing us points.
But can't blame Pickford anymore.
Long term, it just doesn't look like our ambitions of Europe and Champions League are just that we think we can do it in a year or 2 years, but it's more going to be an add-on an extra year or 2, because we're going to need a few transfer windows just to bed in.
Every year it looks promising, and I'm like, oh, you know what? This year we can actually challenge, or next year we'll be able to challenge. Oh, we've had a really promising start this season, we can get it next year. And I've been saying that for so many years. I can't remember when I actually started. It's a joke. We're not going to be able to get Europa League. We're not going to be able to get Champions League. And even if by some miracle we did, we wouldn't be able to compete. We'd get absolutely shredded. We lost last time in the Europa League when we got to the group stages. We had Ruz and Baroque, which we won, and we had Hajjak Split as well, which were the games I went to. And we were great. We got through to qualifications against shite teams. And then as soon as we got to the group stage, we got sent out straight away. So even if like we actually managed to get there, we get knocked out straight away. So we can never actually...
You wonder about the first 7 games, and you think that was probably the best time in the season. We were playing good football. We had a bit of an identity, and we had our first 11. But what was it about that was so good? What about it was the reason why it then eventually failed, and we changed the tactics? And we need to work out what we can do to put it back to how it was in the first 7 games, and what signings we need to make it like that, because that was a clear identity and a clear positive pattern of play. And I'd prefer to go back to that.
I'm just actually putting something out. I'm saying normally we start the season badly and play catch up. Now it's a capitulation at the business end. Lost our identity as the season went on, and it's unfathomable.
Who said that?
Me.
That is top analysis there. You've hit the nail on.
I kind of just rubbed what Basil said as well. And you.
Right. It literally sums it up. Yeah.
Right. I think it's time to wrap up. Obviously, another fucking shit evening of football. 8 o'clock as well. I mean, for the nation to watch, prime time. Have you got anything else you wanna add before we close the video? I know, obviously, we've touched on the goals. Do you think the third goal, do you think Pickford could have done anything about it? Do you think Coleman maybe could have blocked it? No one's closing him down. Do you want to touch on anything to do with the goals? Or I know you've mentioned the
only thing was in the third goal, Pickford, when he went to dive, he actually went, I think, off his right foot instead of his left, so he didn't get the jump. But it was literally, he was at full stretch. He wasn't stopping it. It's just the build up to it. We should have been way more on it. We should have closed them down. Then they had a lofty pass which went over, and it was a great touch, and it just set them off because they have pace going forward. But we couldn't cope with it. Switch off in concentration, and then you're leaving Pickford to do like an almost impossible task. And he was unlucky with it. But our set piece was a good goal. Calvert-Lewin did well, quickly moved out into a better position, and then good strong header. But yeah, and the first one, I mean, is there even any point going over it? It's just...
Well, Jonathan, I've not seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Well,
I want to watch it. Do I want to see that?
Depends if you want to have a good night or not. Like any worse.
I think I'm just gonna.
It was the worst piece of defending. Was it Holgate?
It wasn't defending. It was just a simple receiving the ball
around to go back
from another player, having an option to pass out but refusing it, turning back to go to your goalkeeper, and then getting the ball robbed off you.
And then he actually goes and fouls the player, but he gets back up, and then it was a good finish.
It wasn't like a short pass to the keeper that he latched onto. It was Watkins right on his tail.
Yeah,
he just nicks in the ball, and he runs. But it's not like that was the first time. There was at least one more opportunity, very similar, that Watkins nearly got the ball within about 3 or 4 minutes into the game that Holgate didn't learn from. If he's not going to learn from his mistakes, then we're not going to develop as a team.
But to be honest, we say that's a mistake, which it completely is, and it shouldn't be happening. But we turned it around very quickly and got the goal back, so the fight was there. However, the issue is in the match is we just weren't clinical with our finishing. There were so many shite balls going forward, and if we did get the ball in a good position, the shots were piss poor. Calvert-Lewin missed a good chance. King sent it flying wide. Sigurdsson was pretty selfish and should have laid it off or something. It's a joke.
I said all this before, but we're not even talking about final chances. We're talking about the ball before the final chance that we weren't capable of delivering.
If the goals were switched round and they scored the crap goal, which was a mistake by us in the last 2 minutes, and didn't give us a chance to get back, that would have been a much bigger issue. But we actually recovered from the issue made, and we could have easily gone ahead and won the game. But it's just we're not finishing, so that's actually where
the difference is. You can just look at the goalkeepers and what they did in the game to judge how well each team performed. Because Martinez, he had a good game as well for Villa. But all the shots were straight at him, not very much power. He just.
If you're gonna have a shot, you need to trouble the keeper.
Pickford
You
had
have
to
to
like
trouble the keeper.
stretch.
That's simple
He was
as.
stretching. He was jumping to get to second
He didn't
rebound
have anything to
attempt.
do,
He was
Martinez, did he?
short. He had a few saves, but they were comfortable saves that he
Pickford was a much
easy for
better
him.
keeper out of the two. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
but
Martinez was
what
bad,
I'm
but he had
saying,
to make a lot more saves.
I'm saying that Pickford had to make all those extra saves is a measure of how many chances Villa had to actually score, whereas our chances were sort of half chances or not converted opportunities.
Yeah, because we didn't trouble him. That's it.
Yeah, I know.
That is
I just want to.
I mean, overall, overall, you know, that's it. We didn't trouble him. We didn't create enough. We weren't clinical at all in the final third, and we were shocking at the back and clumsy at the back. So those two things combined is a recipe for disaster.
That's
think
the team I know and
you
love.
summarized it really well. Individual errors, a lack of presence in defense, a lack of midfield, getting overrun at times, and a lack of quality and poor decision making up front and poor finishing. It's a collective mess, and we'll leave you on that bombshell. Jonathan, thanks for joining on this video. We haven't seen you for a few weeks. We wish you the best and hope that you're going to be on future videos soon, because we love your enthusiasm.
Depends how the performance goes, boys. I might not be able to handle another one.
You needed to get this off your chest, didn't you, today? I think you'd seen it and thought, fuck this, I can't. And I've got to rant.
Good
And
little
Basil,
vent session.
as always, thanks for joining. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and like the video. If you're watching on Facebook, you can like and be sure to comment. We will read them back, and we'll see you on a future video. Thank you.